everyone. Welcome to another Awakening Beauty Contemplation. Before we start, I would like to invite you to grab one of your favorite drinks, tea or coffee or a glass of water, and join me for this contemplation about adventure. We like adventure, right? I used to define myself as an adventurer. I think I still am. But I guess my definition of an adventure has evolved along the journey of my life. And I would like to bring that into our contemplation today and share one of my personal realizations. I've always been a lover of innovation, new things, exploration. I have always been a curious child. Even when I was a small girl, I was eager to explore new things. I love travel so much. And it was not supposed to be exotic places all the time, anywhere new. And it could be in any form, by bicycle, by motorbike, by car, by plane. I loved meeting new people, discovering new cultures, seeing new beautiful natural places. It has been a resource for seeing life, learning more about life, finding my space in it. And I still feel like adventure, traveling the world, understanding and seeing our beautiful world is an important part of my soul growth process. And I deeply enjoy it. But when I was adventuring before, at times, retrospectively, I can do this analysis. When I was in it, I'm not so sure that I had eyes to see it this way, but at times I was doing it out of a necessity, out of an emptiness that I was feeling in my life, as if I need to fill it with something. An adventure was my medicine, coming in and even temporarily filling that space. Especially when I was working 8 to 5, 9 to 5 in the corporate world, I needed this adventurous explorations out in nature just to keep my wellness intact. I was usually taking day trips over the weekends, and monthly or every other month, I was taking extended weekends, and multiple times in a year, I was definitely taking longer term explorations, adventures out in other countries. And this used to be the way that I was able to find some sort of balance in the routines of my life. And like I said, when I was in it, I just assumed that this is normal, right? This is the life that you live. I didn't even question. I think I had a fairly traditional lifestyle in which I scaled through the educational career ladders as in responsible citizen of the current Western society. And it didn't even occur to me that there might be other paths. So I just assumed that this is what life is. From Monday to Friday, you just work in this structured routine and then you create your adventures as a way to balance things. The dramatic realization has happened right after I quit the corporate world a couple of years ago. And that enabled me to create my own lifestyle, have my own freedom and flexibility in my scheduling. So I can determine my current schedule, what I do during the day. I can alternate between different activities. I can bring more vibrancy, freedom, and flexibility in the way that I create. Sometimes I always integrate movement into what I do, but sometimes I even create within the movement too. So in a way, I was able to go beyond the boundaries of that 8 to 5 job within a cubicle in a certain space. And I was able to breathe more adventure into the current structure of my day every day. And when I did that, magically, I realized that I didn't have the same kind of craving for the adventure. And once again, this was a retrospective analysis. A couple months passed, and at the end of a couple months, I just realized that I didn't do any weekend trips. And I didn't really have this craving for extended weekends outside the city. And it's going to be almost more than 6 months that I'm not even traveling. And I'm even considering, like, do I really want to move? I am currently in a very creative headspace. And in that headspace, I am craving more space and freedom to be able to bring things into material world. I'm also maybe a little bit outsider, outlier in that scenario, but regardless, nowadays the question that I'm asking is slightly different. Like, is this what I need? But before, it was definitely like a crutch I had in order to compensate for the lack of adventure I had in my daily life. And this was such a big realization I had. And of course, I was in a totally new lifestyle that enabled me to see what was missing when I was in a more structured and routinely scheduled lifestyle as a part of the corporate world. In that world, I definitely needed adventure just to keep my wellness intact, just to keep my sanity. But in this new world, when I created a life that is in some shape or form minimal, more simple, but because I have more freedom and flexibility to create it in the ways that I need it, I was able to incorporate more little small daily adventures in it. And I think that kind of rhythm, freedom and flexibility enabled me to have a more balanced lifestyle in which I don't need an escape to an adventure frequently like I used to do before. And I just want to share this because I am observing a similar kind of pattern all around me. And I also acknowledge the fact that not everyone might have the freedom and flexibility to make that space that I made in my life to be able to make this necessary change. But again, I was not even aware that another option was possible. So I'm having this conversation, or I'm sharing myself, my life as an example to hopefully to show you that there is another option. And in this option, maybe you can do little small things that can integrate that adventurous soul back into your life, even without quitting your responsibilities in the normal world. But how can you, in little small steps, integrate more soul, more adventurous movements, even in little small steps into your daily life? So you don't need to escape from your life in the form of big, adventurous explorations. And seen this way, adventure could be an ongoing journey, ongoing process. And of course, this doesn't necessarily make the big and bold adventures less meaningful. Like I said, I am still an adventurer and I love exploring our beautiful world. There's nothing that can compensate immersion in different cultures, meeting different people, and learning and growing through those experiences. But once again, we can choose those experiences consciously, willingly, not out of necessity. And that's a difference. We can still integrate more adventurous things into our daily lives and turn our lives into adventurous flow every day. And on top of that, we can add more and more adventurous explorations out in nature, out in other countries. But the space that they emerge from can be slightly different. At least that has been the difference in my life. Retrospectively, when I think about it, I craved adventures before to compensate the lack of soulfulness, emotional depth, and intimacy in my life. And the more that I face this and make the necessary changes to align my outer life more with the inner essence of my inner world, I started having less cravings and turning each day into little small adventures. And here's another big difference. I think before I needed big and bold things more to be able to take myself out of that routine. So I had so much imbalance. Like in my daily life, I think things were pretty routine that I needed something dramatic, like climbing a big mountain, traveling a couple days just to get outside of my current context, just to feel like I am doing something different. And I think this is another thing that we are so addicted to in Western world. Always new things, always fresh things. But there's another way to bring more balance into our lives. And that requires us to make little small adjustments, improvements, integrations into our lives every day. And we don't need to do that big and bold movements. Coming back to my previous contemplations about big and bold stories, we are impressed by this big and bold stories because that's how we live our world. But what if another path is possible too? But if little small details in life, little small changes in daily life can also bring more balance and make us feel like we are continuously living in that adventurous flow. We are that flow. And sometimes that flow turns out to be more big and bold, climbs to the top of the mountains, explores other countries. That's wonderful. But at times it can just be simply settling down and at times sitting, at times feeling the boredom of real life experiences too. Maybe this is another thing to bring into the contemplation. A couple days ago, in a monthly Harvard Flourishing Network meeting, we were looking into some of the concepts that helps us to enhance our well-being, enhance our flourishing as humans. And the specific topic of conversation was about flow. And someone shared a research about how in today's world we are so used to always searching for that adventurous, flowy moments in life. But in reality, we have boredom and we have space, we have silence too. And it's okay to feel those emotions too. That's the other side of that adventure, that creative, innovative process. The other side is creating the space for that to exist so that when that happens, we can appreciate it more. I also feel like we are losing that muscle whenever something bothers us immediately. I'm not so sure in today's world we know how to sit with those uncomfortable feelings. And this is not only for adventure, this is for everything. This could be the root cause for addiction because we are not able to sit with whatever uncomfortable thought or emotion is bubbling in us. We try to escape from it in the form of workaholism, travel, eating, adventure, um, falling into love, sex, you name it. So many different reflections in the form of different addictions to materials or people. But the underlying root cause is the same, not being able to sit with life. And I think this might be also an invitation for us to welcome all of life. And also, in little small steps, create the life that we know we would like to experience more. Be the adventure, see the adventure more in our lives so we can expand when the right context emerges, but we don't need to escape from the daily routines of our lives. While this might be a triggering video for some, but if that's the case, I would like to also invite you to sit with it. What's coming up for you? Hmm. And if you feel like this might be useful and insightful for someone you know, please share this video with that person, with those people as well. As always, your attention is the most precious thing. Thank you for being here. Thank you for seeing your inner beauty, connecting and awakening inner beauty first and externally expressing out in our beautiful world. Till next time, stay beautiful.